Question number 44 on the writing and language portion of College Board's Test 5. Far from marking the end of investigative journalism, cooperation among journalists. So this is in a way a modifier error. It's like a logical subject error. We have this little clause here, far from marking the end of investigative journalism. So you have to ask yourself, what has marked the end of investigative journalism? Whatever has marked, or that is far from marking the end of investigative journalism, needs to be this next word after the comma. So in this case, far from marking the end of investigative journalism, cooperation among journalists. Was cooperation among journalists the end of investigative journalism? No. That makes no sense in this case for the logical subject. What about B? Far from marking the end of investigative journalism, the number of potential investigators. Were the number of potential investigators the end of investigative journalism, or the mark of the end of investigative journalism? No. What was the end of investigative journalism, or that was perceived to be the end? Wasn't it technology and the internet? Free news, diminished publication counts for newspapers and such. Far from marking the end of investigative journalism, the advent of the digital age has increased. So what was the end of investigative journalism, or perceived to be? The digital age. The advent of the digital age, I like that. Far from marking the end, the advent of the digital age has increased the number of potential investigators by facilitating cooperation among journalists and ordinary citizens. Maybe. I like on how this is the logical subject that follows from far from marking the end of investigative journalism. What about D? Far from marking the end of investigative journalism, by facilitating cooperation among journalists and ordinary citizens, far from marking the end of investigative journalism by facilitating cooperation. Again, facilitating cooperation was not the death knell of investigative journalism. Advent of digital technology was. The only one that has that as the first subject and noun right after that comma is going to be C.